Welcome to Session 2. During this session, you will be able to identify the 8 subject areas and the 13 functional areas related to early care in education. You will learn how to write competency statements, prepare a collection of 16 resource items, and apply developmentally appropriate practices for your classroom. During this course, you will build your professional portfolio from the resources you will collect. You will also write 6 competency statements and a philosophy paper. Let's review the resources you will collect during this course. Preparing your professional portfolio. The first step is creating the shell of your portfolio, into which you will add many items. Your portfolio may be arranged in any creative way you choose. For example, you can organize it in a 3-ring binder, or you can use the folders in a file box to create your portfolio. While there are no specific requirements about how it should look, it should be legible, look professional, and be manageable in size and portability. The second step will be to add your My CDA Professional Portfolio cover sheet. This portfolio cover sheet will guide you in organizing the contents of your professional portfolio using tabbed sections. This sheet is located in the back of your book. You will then add your summary of My CDA education cover sheet, followed by your transcripts, certificates, letters, and your family questionnaires cover sheet and questionnaires. Next comes the biggest part of your portfolio preparation work, the collection of resources and the writing of your reflective competency statements. The resource collections. One of the most valuable components of your portfolio that you might use in your work moving forward will be your collection of early childhood resources. You may find yourself referring back to these helpful resources in the future as you continue your career. Note, the numbering of the following list of resources correlates to each of the competency standards. Your resource collection must include the following items. RC1-1. Your valid and current certificate of completion or cards from any first aid course. B. An infant child pediatric CPR courses offered by a nationally recognized training organization, such as American Red Cross or the American Heart Association. Online training for this is not acceptable. RC1-2. A copy of one weekly menu. In order to complete your related reflective competency statement on this topic, the menu would ideally be one that you have participated in serving to and/or designing for children. If this is not possible, or if you work in a program that does not serve meals, you may substitute a group care menu found on the internet. More important than the source of the menu will be the reflective competency statement 1, in which you will discuss your opinions about the menu, what you think are its strengths and/or what you might serve that you think is more appropriate and why. RC1-3. A sample of your weekly plan that includes goals for children, learning and development, brief description of planned learning experiences, and also accommodations for children with special needs, whether for children you currently serve or may serve in the future. Indicates the age groups for which the plan is intended. RC2. The 9 learning experiences. There are activities written in your own words, including one from each of the following curricular areas. RC2-1, Science and Sensory. RC2-2, Language and Literacy. RC2-3, Creative Arts. RC2-4, Fine Motor. Please choose an indoor activity. RC2-5, Gross Motor. Please choose an outdoor activity. RC2-6, Self-Concept. RC2-7, Emotional Skills/Regulation. RC2-8, Social Skills. RC2-9, Mathematics. Here are some examples. For RC2-1, Science Sensory, you might write about an experience entitled Smell Jars. And for RC2-6, Self-Concept, you might write about an experience entitled Self-Portrait. For each experience, indicate the age groups, such as 3s, 4s, or 5s, and list the intended goals, materials, and processes. For each activity, discuss why is it developmentally appropriate for that age group. RC3. A bibliography that includes the titles, authors, publishers, copyright dates, and short summaries of 10 developmentally appropriate children's books that you have used with young children. Each book should support a different topic related to children's lives and challenges. Subjects you might consider addressing include cultural or linguistic group identity, gender identity, children with special needs, separation, divorce, remarriage, family structures, phases of the cycle of life from human reproduction to death, other topics that reflect the children and families with whom you work with. RC4, a family resource guide that you might choose to share with families you serve. The guide should include all of the helpful information you think they might need. At a minimum, you must include the following required items. RC41, the name and contact information of a local agency that provides family counseling. RC42, the name and contact information of a translation service for families whose home language is other than English, as well as a service that provides American Sign Language translation. RC43, the name, contact information, and brief descriptions of at least 2 agencies in the community that provides resources and services for children with disabilities. In most communities, the local school district provides these services. RC44, a list of 3 or more websites and brief descriptions of each that provide current information to help families understand how young children develop and learn. Include 1 current article for each website. Websites must contain articles that help families understand the development and learning of children based on your age group, whether it's infants, toddlers, 3s to 5-year-olds. At least 1 article must relate to child guidance. RC5. You will collect 3 samples of record-keeping forms you have used. Include an accident report form, an emergency form, and a completed tool that you have used to observe for and document a child's developmental learning progress. Do not include the child's name. Resource Collection 6.1. The name and contact information of your state's agency that is responsible for the regulation of child care centers and family child care homes. Note, these regulations are available at the website of the National Resource Center for Health and Safety in Child Care. Make a copy of the section that describes the qualifications requirements for personnel, teachers, directors, and assistants, and the group size, adult-child ratio requirements. Resource Collection 6.2. A list of 2 or 3 early childhood associations, national, regional, state, or local, including website addresses describing the professional resources and membership opportunities they each offer. Resource Collection 6.3. Provide summaries of the legal requirements in your state regarding child abuse and neglect, including contact information for the appropriate agency in your state and mandatory reporting guidelines. The reflective statements of competency. During this course, you will prepare 6 written reflections on your own teaching practices. You must write 1 reflective statement for each of the 6 CDA competency standards. Many of the statements require the use of specific resources from your resource collection. Each statement should be no more than 500 words in length. CS1 Competency Statement 1. To establish and maintain a safe, healthy learning environment. You will begin your reflective statement about this competency standard with a paragraph describing how your teaching practices meet this standard. Alternatively, you may also choose to write 1 paragraph for each functional area, if this makes it easier to express your thoughts more clearly. Then write at least 1 paragraph on each of the following. CS1A. Reflect on the sample menu in the resource collection. If you designed the menu, how does it reflect your commitment to children's nutritional needs? If you did not design it, What are its strengths and/or what would you change? CS1B. Reflect on the room environment in which your verification visit observation will occur. How does the room design reflect the way you believe young children learn best? If the room was not designed by you, what do you see as its strengths and/or what would you change? CS1C. Reflect on the weekly plan you included in your resource collection. How does this plan reflect your philosophy of what young children need on a weekly basis? If the plan was not designed by you, what do you see as its strengths and/or what would you change? Competency Statement 2. To advance physical and intellectual competency. You will begin your reflective statement about this competency standard with a paragraph describing how your teaching practices meet this standard. Note, alternatively, you may also choose to write one paragraph for each functional area, if this makes it easier to express your thoughts more clearly. Then prepare at least one paragraph on each of the following areas. CS2A. Pick one of the 9 learning experiences you chose for your resource collection. How does this experience reflect your philosophy of how to support young children's physical development? CS2B. Pick another of the 9 learning experiences you chose for your resource collection. How does this experience reflect your philosophy of how to support young children's cognitive development? CS2C. Pick a third learning experience you chose for your resource collection. How does this experience reflect your philosophy of how to support young children's creative development? CS2D. In an additional paragraph, describe ways to promote the communication, language development among all children, including dual language learners. Competency Statement 3. To support social and emotional development and to provide positive guidance. Begin your reflective statement about this competency standard with a paragraph describing how your teaching practices meet this standard. Note, alternatively, you may also choose to write one paragraph for each functional area, if this makes it easier to express your thoughts more clearly. CS3A. Describe some of the ways you support the development of children's positive self-concepts and growing social-emotional skills. CS3B. Reflect on your philosophy of guiding young children's positive behaviors. How is your professional philosophy similar or different from how you were guided as a child? How do you constructively deal with young children's challenging behaviors? Competency Statement 4. To establish positive and productive relationships with families. Begin your reflective statement about this competency standard with a paragraph describing how your teaching practices meet this standard. Then prepare at least one paragraph on each of the following. CS4A. How do you ensure that families are kept aware of what's happening in your child's daily, weekly life in your program? CS4B. How do you ensure that you are aware of what's happening in each child's home life? How does that awareness direct your teaching practices? CS4C. Reflect on the feedback you received in the family questionnaires you collected. Explain how the responses surprised you, confirmed your own reflection about yourself, and/or gave you a new goal for professional growth. Competency Statement 5. To ensure a well-run, purposeful program that is responsive to participants' needs. Begin your reflective statement about this competency standard with a paragraph describing how your teaching practices meet this standard. CS5A. Then write at least one paragraph that describes how you use this observation tool you included in the resource collection. Why are observations and documentation important parts of program management? How do you ensure that you are accurately, objectively observing and tracking each child's developmental and learning progress? Competency Statement 6. To maintain a commitment to professionalism. Begin your reflective statement about this competency standard with a paragraph describing how your professional practice meet this standard. CS 6A. Reflect on why you chose to become an early childhood professional. CS 6B. Reflect on what you believe are the most important indicators of professionalism. The Professional Philosophy Statement. Your professional philosophy statement is the final reflective task in the creation of your professional portfolio. Here you will summarize your professional beliefs and values about early childhood education after you have completed the professional development experience of designing your portfolio by collecting resources and writing all 6 reflective statements of competency. Your philosophy statement should be no more than 2 pages in length. Before you begin, identify your personal values and beliefs around teaching and learning. How do you believe young children learn? Based on this, what do you believe your role is? Beyond teaching and learning, reflect and write about what you believe are the other important aspects of your role in the lives of children and families. For this week's assignment, you will set up your professional portfolio file. You will practice writing your philosophy statement in order to see growth from the beginning of the course until the end, and you will also review the PowerPoint file for creating a bulletin board in order to complete your fieldwork assignment.